Hi everyone. In today's clip, I want to talk a bit about anemia. Please note that anything I record here are for informational use only and is not intended to diagnose or cure any ailments. Anemia is another issue that afflicts many people. This is either a reduction in the number of red blood cells or the amount of hemoglobin in the blood. This causes reduction in oxygen that the blood can carry, basically. So anemia reduces the amount of oxygen available to the cells, hence they have less energy available to their normal functions. So important things like muscular activity and cell building and repair slows down and becomes inefficient. As well, when the brain lacks oxygen, there may be dizziness and lack of mental faculties and sharpness. Anemia is not a disease, but it's a symptom of various disease. This, for example, is the first detectable sign of arthritis, infections, or certain major illnesses, including cancer. Drug use, hormonal disorders, chronic inflammation in the body, surgery, peptic ulcers, hemorrhoids, diverticulosis, heavy menstrual bleeding, repeated pregnancies, liver damage, bone marrow disease, and dietary deficiencies in iron, folic acid, vitamin B6 or B12 can all lead to anemia. Anemia can also be because of chemotherapy. Pernicious anemia is a severe form of anemia that is due to B12 deficiency, and usually people with this issue cannot properly absorb B12 or have bad eating habits. If B12 goes down far, the results are lacking energy, depression, indigestion, diarrhea, and of course anemia. And if it is ongoing, the person will be in danger of neurological damage. The most common cause of anemia is iron deficiency. Iron is important in making hemoglobin, which is the component of red blood cells that attaches to oxygen and transports it. Red blood cells are there to oxygenate the body, and they live around 90 to 120 days. When there is not enough iron, then red blood cell formation is impaired. The bad part is that the anemia symptoms can easily go unrecognized, and the first sign may be loss of appetite, headache, constipation, difficulty concentrating, and so on. Once anemia is established, then we will see symptoms like weakness, fatigue, cold extremities, depression, dizziness, pale or brittle nails, pale lips and eyelids, soreness in the mouth, loss of libido, and in women, it can show as a loss of menstruation. If we suspect anemia being present, it would definitely need to be investigated, and your doctor will run a complete blood count or CBC, and these tests will determine both the number of red blood cells and hemoglobin levels. If the person is anemic, but they have a really good diet, the physician may run a test called erythrocyte sedimentation rate, or ESR for short, to find any inflammations in the body. In this test, a sample of your blood is sent to the lab. They place the sample in a tall, thin test tube and measure how quickly the red blood cells settle or sink to the bottom of the tube. Inflammation makes red blood cells stick together in clumps. These clumps of red blood cells are heavier than single cells, so they sink faster. Now, essential nutrients for this condition are iron and raw liver extract, as well as blackstrap molasses, which contains iron and B complex, and at least 1 tablespoon twice a day, and B12. Of course, alongside other nutrients, right? So also include some of the following, for example, in your diet. Things like apples, apricots, asparagus, broccoli, eggs, kelp, leafy greens, okra, parsley, peas, plums, prunes, purple grapes, raisins, squash, whole grains, yams, foods that are high in vitamin C, and foods that are high on oxalic acid also should be eaten in moderation. And these are things like almonds, cashews, chocolate, cocoa, kale, rhubarb, sorrel, spinach, Swiss chard, and most nuts and beans. Also avoid junk food, of course, and don't smoke, as well as don't take calcium, vitamin E, zinc, or antacid supplements because they all can interfere with iron absorption. Stay away from milk because this actually can cause anemia by interfering iron absorption. If you eat fish at the same time as vegetables containing iron, this increases the iron absorption. Now, the spiritual side of this issue correlates with feeling of vulnerability and sensitivity. Much like how low iron in the physical body can lead to weakness and fatigue, it may suggest a deficiency in strength, resilience, and assertiveness, spiritually speaking. Anemia serves as a metaphor for the need to nourish not just our physical bodies, but also our spiritual selves. It urges us to pay attention to our emotional health and to recognize our vulnerabilities. It's a reminder to nurture our inner selves with positivity, self-care, and self-love to build resilience against life's challenges. Additionally, low iron can indicate a heightened sensitivity or empathy towards others. However, it also calls for the need to set boundaries to protect one's own energy and well-being. Further emotional causes can be maybe there is someone in the family that we prefer to exclude or expel, or to the contrary, we are working too hard to keep someone in our lives or alive. If you feel devalued, for example, or worthless, or see yourself as a hindrance, or putting the needs of others above yours to prevent problems, feeling as if you are not receiving enough affection from mom or dad or partner, or lack of support in general, living in a toxic family that suffocates you, and of course, variety of combinations of these conditions. Dealing with the root emotional cause of any ailment is a wonderful way to paving the road to fast recovery. Physical therapy without emotional and vice versa is very inefficient. We need to look into health issues as a whole and address it from all sides, emotional, spiritual, and physical. Hope this has been helpful. Please ensure do not try to address any ailments you might have on your own, and do contact your healthcare provider for proper steps and attention, of course. Like and follow for more. Be the light.